Hello, Internet! Welcome to episode 378 of the Assorted Calibers podcast, the second better podcast. There's a little bit for everyone. I'm Weer'd, and tonight we are having an ACP Round Table, though slightly smaller than usual. So, of course, we are joined by the greatest hostess in the entire universe, Erin Paulette. How you doing, Erin?
So, is it considered drinking in the morning if I start drinking the night before?
So I actually, when I was at the University of Maine, where I got my degree in drinking, the overall adage is that tomorrow cannot stop, today cannot start until tomorrow ends.
Tomorrow can't start until today ends.
Yes. Is that what I said?
No,
it was not.
But fortunately, that's can't sentence properly.
Yes.
Yay!
Oh.
Yeah, so I've made a round table bingo, and just by a rough guess, I'd say we've got about a third of it full already.
I may not have been paying fully attention, but I've got 6 squares checked so far.
I have 7. So, and of course, you hear David, who is here with us today.
It's our cafe table round table.
Yeah, because Oddball is doing something important. I think he's like hearing a case before SCOTUS.
I thought he was preparing for his financial TED Talk. Or maybe that's after or before the hearing.
One of those.
Yeah. Or all of them.
How are you doing, David?
Today is a higher than normal pain day physically, but psychologically I'm doing fairly good. Yesterday was Game and Craft Day at the temple, and I was gifted a off-brand mini Lego kit. And I don't mean the kit is smaller, I mean the actual pieces are smaller. They're like scaled down Legos by about 60% of an otter. So I brought that with me and built it. And so people were doing crafts and playing games and chatting. And it was a very good social time. And there was food, which always makes things better.
Does the otter have a slide?
The otter has a pond. I suppose if I go down to the basement and pull out my tubs of Legos, I could make him a slide. Although it might be rather bumpy, because Legos.
That is the downside of Legos. The entire world is like driving on cobblestones.
I saw a video somebody put up earlier of 2 guys, and they've got foam swords and shields, and they're barefoot, and the floor is covered with Legos.
I saw that. Yeah, that's that Japanese group that seems to always come up with new games on hurting themselves, where like they'll wear like the rubber chicken mask, where if you make any noise, it does the oh.
But yeah.
So how have you been, Erin?
Excuse me. Grumble.
Moving on.
How's Tilly?
Tilly is a good girl. She is
good.
She is rambunctious and occasionally more than a handful, but still brings me joy. Sometimes the only good thing in my life, but yeah.
Is she excessively adorbs?
Oh, absolutely.
You've seen the pictures, you idiot.
Yes, I know, but I just wanted to hear her say it.
Okay, but that's part of a dog's job, is to improve our lives, and they do a really solid work on that. So,
I don't think I shared this, but I know that I mentioned when we put up the Christmas tree that I had concerns about how she was going to react to it and if she would, knock it down or otherwise be an agent of chaos. And I am pleased to report that we didn't have any incidents like that. And in fact, she did something that was super cute. And I'm pausing a bit as I'm going to download it and then share it to Discord and then tell the listeners about it. She would curl up.
Oh.
She would curl up under the tree like a present and take a nap, and it was the most adorable thing I have seen.
That is peak doggy cuteness.
Mm-hmm.
The best part is it's a little puppy butt peeking out from under the tree. Puppy butt.
But yeah, she would curl up right next to the center of the tree and just be comfortable and sleep there for hours. Just, our little present.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Molly has a tendency to do that with our tree. Is she'll either curl up under or just behind the tree and sleep, or we'll come out in the morning when the tree is up and find the tree skirt someplace else in the room.
Relocation.
Yep. This year she did manage to break an ornament, which A for effort.
You sound strangely proud of that.
Well, we not entirely unproud, but of the three cats, Molly is the most chaotic about the tree. So she will. I just posted a picture of her ungarlanding the bottom of the tree. And you'll see those blue ornaments above her. Those are fairly hard plastic. Farther up the tree are the more fragile ornaments, and she managed to get high enough to get one of those down and bat it across the floor until it hit a piece of furniture or broke. So, I mean, it was impressive logistics on her part.
Well, I'm sorry she broke one of your Italian ornaments.
Actually, I believe that was one of my wife's ornaments.
No, it's Italian because it's fragile.
That is true.
I didn't see that one coming.
Here we go. Here's the picture of Molly curled up behind the tree.
Aw.
Yeah. So those two pictures are Molly's entire interaction with the Christmas tree, either sleeping behind it or trying to kill it.
It's her yin and yang.
Yes. But I have to find it. Is my favorite picture of Molly and Christmas tree is the picture. I wanted to make it into our holiday card, and I may still do that. But I've entitled it "That Ornament Never Knew What Hit It." But I have to find that picture. But yeah, Saturday was normal, sitting at the temple, and then we went out to lunch, and then we went to Total Wine because my wife needed to pick up a few things, and then we went to a thrift store, and that was also weird. We went to the Asian market.
Nice.
Yeah, you would love this place. Absolutely love it.
Is it a large one?
Yeah, it's pretty big. It's about the size of a regular grocery store.
Yeah, because we've been. I mean, there's a couple of Asian different flavors. There was a Thai one and a Korean one in Portland when I lived there that I would frequent, and then there was a couple of Japanese markets near my wife's place in Cambridge back when we were still dating, and like various other small markets. And then I discovered H Mart.
Stop H Mart.
Yes. Which is it's a national chain that's Korean owned, but they specialize in all things East Asian, and it is like literally a supermarket sized. And so, yeah. And they've got absolutely one of the best fish counters like out there. So yeah, no, I love that place.
Nice. So I put up two pictures of the foster that we had, Coco, who was very enamored of the tree. And then the last picture is the one that I was talking about of Molly trying to demolish an ornament.
Yep.
Thankfully, that ornament was also made of plastic, not something particularly breakable, so it survived. But just the look on her face, her pupils are fully dilated.
I mean, that's pretty standard of the cat owners. Someone will have a picture of the Christmas tree tipped over.
They have never knocked over the Christmas tree because Molly and Flynn, at least, are not climbers, thankfully. Especially Flynn, because he's like 17 pounds of cat. And I don't think there's a base weight that would survive that guy getting up on the tree a few feet.
I mean, it looks like she's in the tree.
Her front paws were on a branch, but her hind paws were on the ground.
Oh, okay.
Because, again, thankfully, she was not a climber. Coco, on the other hand, got a couple of feet up in the tree, but she was a kitten, so she didn't have the weight to knock it over.
Mm-hmm.
If she had, she would have tried. She was a little chaos gremlin.
Welcome to the Assorted Catters podcast.
Or the Assorted Critters podcast, because we're also talking about Tilly.
Yeah, that scans better too.
And I was going to talk about the mouse. My wife had a brilliant idea because, of course, we had the mouse had been seen running up underneath our kitchen cabinets, and so I literally got a package of glue traps. They're the kind that are the kind of like the Roach Motel style, where you fold them into a rectangle, and the idea is they run inside to hide and are unable to escape. And
you just toss the whole box.
Yes. And
I just have this mental image of an elderly Larry sitting in the mouse hole with the group of young mice sitting in front of him while he teaches them what he's learned.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't put anything past these mice. They're so strange. But yeah, so my wife had an idea. She had bought the roll of steel wool, actually 2.
Mm-hmm.
And we took we threw away all the glue traps because they were just good at catching our family members. Several of them had very distinct footprints in them.
Mm-hmm.
And then those all went in the trash. And then I went up underneath the cabinets and just started unrolling and stuffing, and it fit amazingly well, like it was made for it. So that area is all blocked off with steel wool, of which mice will not touch. I assume it's the barbs and pokey bits of the wool will hurt their tender mouths, and they'll just give up. And
either that or it's like when a human bites tinfoil, it just feels wrong, even if it doesn't harm you.
Yeah, though I've heard that only happens to people with who've had fillings.
I think it just might be more exaggerated with people who had metal fillings, because I don't think that the new ceramic fillings have that reaction, because it's not a galvanic. But I know some folks who never had a single filling and they just with tinfoil. I don't know.
So David, your mental image is completely in line with the Discworld novel, The Amazing Maurice and His Educated Rodents.
Nice. I was actually thinking of the short story in the Monster Hunter files with the Roman mice too, with the janitor.
Yeah.
Was that Jim Butcher's story?
Yep, sure was.
Yeah, good story. I'd like to see more of that world, or that explored.
Yeah, but so we are nowhere closer to catching the mouse, but hopefully we are making the place so inhospitable that he will figure out wherever he came in from, and will go that way and find somebody else to bother, because I am not able to sleep.
You're done with this.
I'm not able to sleep through the night anymore. Every night I wake up at some point, like, last night it was at like, I think 1:00 in the morning, and actually my wife was up too. She was having some acid reflux, and so she was taking her medicine to settle that down. And I came downstairs and she says, "Oh no." And I said, "Yeah." She says, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I got to use my inhaler." And she says, "Oh, that's too bad." I said, "Well, the good news is that this is early enough that once this stuff will take effect, and then I can go back to bed." Of course, it's a stimulant, so I first went back to bed and just nothing is comfortable. But I did eventually drop back to sleep, but I'm still not sleeping the way I'd like to. So, and it made it very, very clear that if I ever need to go back to full-time work, unfortunately, rodent wrangling is out of the question.
So I think you should do what Protestant churches in the South do.
Oh, baptize them?
I mean, once you've done that, you've caught them. But why do you think that's the joke, Weer'd?
Oh, that's a New England Catholic joke. Is I baptize them, and that way I only see them on Christmas and Easter.
There's also the Jewish tradition.
Yeah, so
Which is-
basically, Weird. It's the same joke. It's just that for Protestants, I don't know, add them to the church registry or something like that. But yes, then you only see them twice a year.
We don't see them at all again, because once you circumcise a mouse, they want nothing left to do with you.
Oddly enough, that's not a surgery I ever performed.
What about the girl mice?
I'm going to leave that one alone.
Yeah,
I have so many responses, none of which I want to put on the Assorted Calibers podcast. So shall we dive into some news?
I think it would be wise.
So this one here I wanted to put in really just because it's an interesting one, and I just wanted to throw a little cautionary tale into the wind. Is that so this video is kind of going around the various social medias, is of a group of people essentially hanging out in their neighborhood in Minneapolis, and I assume that they are anti-ICE protesters, and one of the people in the group is a gentleman. He's got a beanie on and a beard with glasses, and he has an AR pistol with an arm brace and what appears to be a suppressor on it, and he is just saying, no, I'm just here patrolling my neighborhood. And I'll say right now, and a few people there's definitely some people that have thrown some shade at this guy, often for partisan reasons. There's been a few actually people who disagree with him, who have actually pointed out the fact that no, that's all well and good, and all that. And I personally have absolutely no problem with it. The one thing I wanted to talk about, especially since in the idea that he may be, let's just say, in conflict. I was about to say clash, but that's not, I think that might be an extreme term.
I want to add a clarifying point for our listeners. This particular rifle is on a single point sling, and so it's on his chest, and more than once he has his hand caressing the front grip. So this is not just slung on the back. This is slung in the ready position.
And that's what I wanted to get at, is this is something that I generally don't like, because we had the big, like, everybody and their mothers show up at Starbucks with, your tap code SKS and all your, with your plate carriers and all that stuff. And it was really obnoxious, and it didn't do us any favors. But the one thing that the one thing I've got that just makes me nervous is when you have your rifle on a single point sling, and actually I'm looking at the thumbnail of the video that's linked in the show notes, and specifically has him with his hand on the pistol grip, and his fingers indexed up on the frame. Excellent gun handling,
good,
safe direction.
Pen.
Yep. He's doing a great job, but also that's low ready. And that's always a problem I've had with a single point sling being carried by anybody but people that are being directly deployed by threats, be them soldiers or SWAT teams or that sort of stuff,
or neighborhood watch for that matter.
Yeah, when they're rolling in, like they're going after something. In the case of this, he's patrolling. He's keeping an eye on stuff. And if police show up, number one, he's going to want to have a hand on the gun to control it, so it's not flopping around and swinging around, or someone might grab it. But if you grab it by the pistol grip, that is now effectively low ready, which in my opinion is the firearms equivalent of pulling the gun out of your holster and holding it by your side. Yeah. And
one other thing I'm looking at is, because of the color of his jacket and the resolution of the film, when he's standing there with both hands in his pockets, it looks like the gun is glued to his jacket.
Yeah.
You can't see the sling. But the other more serious thing is, I don't think that's an AR pistol. That looks like a 16-inch barrel.
Yeah, but that's
it has an arm brace, but
Yeah.
The barrel does not look under 16.
Yeah, I have. It does. If it is a pistol, it is a very long one.
Yeah.
I just want to point out that he has only one magazine visible. He might have others somewhere, but in that case, they're going to be difficult to get to. He's
Correct.
making himself a target. He isn't wearing any plates. So I have to agree with a lot of the commenters who are saying that he's LARPing, he's cosplaying.
Yeah.
This is not a legitimate posture, although if ICE roll up, they may think otherwise. This is a political statement. And okay, I don't mind that he's making a political statement. My concern is that he's making a political statement that could end up with getting him shot.
Yeah, I agree. There's also a picture that I tossed in chat. I couldn't find the article for it, but it's of a couple of people at someplace else in town sitting on the trunk of a car, and one of them has what is clearly a Smith & Wesson M&P 1522 pistol with no arm brace, just the bare buffer tube or receiver extension. And most damning of all is if you look closely at the image, they've got a paracord key ring through the trigger guard.
Oh, yeah.
Why?
Well, you don't want to lose your keys. but that's a great way to have a negligent discharge. Of course, the magazine is empty.
Unless I'm looking at it wrong, it doesn't appear that magazine is loaded.
Yeah, the magazine appears to be empty, or if it is loaded, it has very few rounds in it. But again, LARPing.
I also think she is muzzling her compatriot.
Oh, yeah. Pointing right at the thigh.
Right at the thigh.
On the plus side, the femur is protecting the femoral artery.
Yeah, there's that.
And a 22, even at close range, shouldn't punch through a femur.
I still don't want to be shot by one.
A good thing.
I don't want anyone to be hurt or killed, so it is a good thing.
But yeah, that is all I'm getting at, is especially in a situation where, the tempers may get high. Again, we like I said last week with all of this, when you're blaring horns and blasting whistles and doing all of this stuff,
ramming cars.
You're not helping the agents, stay in their right mind. You're not, keeping their.
You're getting stressed armed men and stressing them further.
Yeah, it's one of those I'm not making a stand, at least on the Assorted Calibers podcast on the Immigrations and Customs Enforcement Agency and their position in Minneapolis or any other part in the United States. That's that's a my personal opinion and not the opinion of this show issue. Yeah. But I will just say, if you want to damage the agency, I mean, yes, if they end up murdering a bunch of civilians, maybe that will cause a major issue in the long run. But is that the issue you want to be?
Is that the hill you literally want to die on?
Yeah, quite literally.
Well, someone wants them to die on that hill.
Yeah, but, I think I already ranted about that.
Yeah.
Exactly. But also, Weer'd, you said if they murdered a bunch of civilians, and that would be a post-trial decision.
Yeah.
Because
I chose that word.
It would be homicide, but it may not be murder.
Yeah, because
it may be protected by their duties. Because that guy in the down jacket, they pull up and he puts his hand on the pistol grip of that rifle. Would that be under their rules of engagement be considered a deadly threat? And certainly, if it was considered a deadly threat, then they would be justified in pointing and possibly shooting at him.
Yeah, certainly if they gave him a lawful order to put his hands up to drop the gun. I mean, there's another issue too, is
unless there's a QD, you're not getting that off quick.
Yeah. I mean, and even if there was a QD, do you want to be messing with it? Because certainly in a situation like that, that's going to be the one time when the button's going to be a little stubborn.
Oh, especially in cold weather. Get some moisture in there.
Correct. And so it's just one of those, I see what he's doing. I understand what he is doing.
We endorse his right to do it.
Yeah, and
it is his right to do it, but I think it's ill-advised.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's simply adding more risk to an already risky environment. I
think in a situation like this, a concealed handgun is a far more prudent idea, or a open and holstered handgun, something that is very clearly in the holster and that you can keep your hands well away from, and then or if a long gun is absolutely the firearm you need. I mean, again, Kyle Rittenhouse openly stated, why didn't you carry a handgun? I was 18. I could not carry a handgun.
Not legally, yeah.
Correct.
And I mean, but a traditional sling.
Yep. Yeah.
To have it slung over your shoulder, muzzle down or muzzle up at that point is irrelevant, but just a slung rifle. And the number of times I see in these photos, like the McCloskeys or Kyle or the stuff going on now, almost none of the rifles have slings. This is not new technology. This is not a new concept. I mean,
Tam Keel had a great line that I really, really love, and she said, holsters for all the handguns, slings for all the long guns, and certainly for anything that you may reach for in a social situation, that's a really, really good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have slings on all my rifles, but some of them are just range guns, so there's no need.
Well, that's
any social gun that I have, there is a sling. Actually, the pump shotgun I used to keep by the side of my bed did not have a sling.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Erin, I need a judgment.
Yes.
Would this part of the discussion count as ballistic autism?
No.
Okay.
Not yet. So yeah, either way, be safe out there, and remember how you are going to be looked at, especially if you're going to be drawing the ire of law enforcement.
Yeah, because, be sensible.
It's just, again, I don't think that this guy is justifying himself getting shot, but I can see very, very easily him doing a very, very common sense thing, such as, it's a heated moment. I want to hold on to this firearm, not because I'm ready, I'm getting it ready to draw it and fire it, but because there's a lot of action going around and I don't want it getting bumped, jostled, or snatched away from me.
Right. Or even he's gesturing with his other arm and the gun starts to swing on the point of the sling. So he grabs it with the other hand to restrain it.
Yep.
Well, he just grabbed a gun in a heated engagement.
Yep. And again, given the command to drop the firearm, he would need to raise his hand and just, I mean, contradictory orders. It's just.
Well, there was that poor guy who was given contradictory orders and then shot in the hallway of the hotel.
Yep. And that officer,
and he was
got
unarmed.
Away with it. Yeah. And I don't agree with that at all.
No. All right, let's move on to something more positive, please.
Yeah. Just be careful out there, folks. All right. So this is a good one. Yeah. So we've got
it's a step forward.
Yes. We've got the DOJ is now saying that the ban on, is it shipping handguns only?
Well, shipping long guns through the mail has always been legal. It was only handguns that were restricted from the Postal Service.
So all handguns are shipped via parcel services?
As far as I know, unless I think there might be an exception for FFL to FFL.
Yep.
Or private, but private citizens I don't believe were allowed to ship handguns via Postal Service. But it says federal ban against civilians shipping pistols through the United States Postal Service, which again is a personal pet peeve, the misuse of the word civilian. Just because you have an FFL doesn't mean you're not a civilian.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's what the regular citizen who without a special license up until this ruling could not ship a handgun through the Postal Service.
And so we're seeing some eroding on the carrying within the post office, and now shipping of handguns.
And now we just need to get that extended to carrying a handgun on Postal Service property. But
what is the stat? There was a case just recently. Do you remember the stat?
I don't know how that was, or if it was decided. I know there were actually several cases, and they may have been combined for all I know.
Yeah.
But last I had heard, they were still working their way through the briar patch.
Yeah, there might it might have. I think we had a recent win on carrying on post office property, but I don't necessarily know if that was appealed or not.
Yeah, I thought one of them was on property but not on premises or something. I don't know the actual legal term. Basically, okay in the parking lot, not okay inside the building.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if that was an actual ruling or if that was simply an argument. Unfortunately, our legal advisor is not present today.
That's true.
He is not a lawyer, but he's closer than the rest of us.
That's true. Yeah. So this is a good step in the right direction, especially the restriction on the post office is by far the worst, because most federal buildings have armed security and security checkpoints.
Post offices do not.
No, I mean, my local post office is open 24 hours. You know, they've got the little, the metal portcullis that comes down when they shut the desk down. But if you want to go check your PO box at 2:00 in the morning, or drop something into the inside mailbox, they've got a little slot that's in town mail. So and all that, like if you wanted to do that, if you wanted to do that at 2:00 in the morning, you're more than welcome to. Just everything else is all locked up.
So one of the interesting points on this historically is, with the other federal buildings that have armed security, that is usually a separate, specific security, law enforcement, whatever. The post office, the postal inspectors are actually authorized, or were at least at one point authorized, to carry firearms. And at one point in history, when trains were being robbed, the U.S. government put the Marine Corps on the trains until they could get the internal postal agents trained up. So they actually, at one point in history, U.S. Postal Service employees were issued Thompson submachine guns. There are photos. It's kind of awesome in a way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was talking to my daughter about that. We were stopped at a red light, and there was a local business being serviced by the armored car service, picking up the cash bag. And my daughter was asking, "Is that where you get those bags that have the dollar sign on them?" And I said, "Yeah, those don't really exist." But I'm pretty sure that is what they actually used to ship currency with back in the old days, before there was, essentially electronic money.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, even fairly recently, I worked at a couple of places where it wasn't the little like blue zipper lock bags, but it was like grocery store size bags made of heavy rubber lined canvas, and they would have the coin or bill denomination printed on the outside of the bag. So you might see the dollar sign, but it would be followed by a 1 or a 5 or a 10 or something. So they were using that in my memory.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so this is more good news on all that. I mean, obviously we're not quite at the end of the road yet. There's always the chance that this is going to need to work its way up to the higher courts, but maybe not, because essentially it's talking about the DOJ is changing. So I assume the DOJ is actually the group that's overseeing the post office, and it's not post office versus DOJ.
I do wish the Department of Justice would get some medication for their schizophrenia on this.
That is a very troubling factor, is how going through, especially like it's one of those like, oh, okay, we're gonna back off on the arm brace thing and just let that run its course. But switchblades, we can't have someone with a knife that pops out quickly. Like,
that's a step too far.
Yeah, like every knife. Or again, switchblades, they come out so fast. Well, what about fixed blades?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's actually one of the things where I live. It's not uncommon to see people in the grocery store open carrying a handgun, because the rural county, or concealed carrying, quote unquote, a handgun. But it's also more common to see someone, to see someone with a sheath knife on their belt. And it's unremarkable. And I don't think there's anything faster to deploy than a sheath knife of those for different varieties of knives.
Yeah. And of course, if you need to do any like serious cutting for all of that, like a full tang blade is going to be both the safest and the best performing. All right. But this next one, we got to talk about this one.
Uh-huh. So, I talked in the Reload article for it, but go.
Yeah. So of course, obviously we've talked about how now that it's 2026, the tax stamp for most, pretty much everything but machine guns and destructive devices has been reduced to $0. Mm-hmm. And
which
so
is it's a good step forward, but it is not the end of that fight.
Yep. And as we have said, I was trying to find some new updates on that. I wasn't actually able to before the show started because there's several cases that are moving and I haven't seen anything new on them, but that might, but at some point there are many challenges that are going out saying, hey, if the NFA is considered constitutional because it's not an unconstitutional gun registry, it is tax registry. What is the point if you're not collecting the tax? And so,
which is actually something that we'll get to a little bit later. One of the arguments about the machine gun ban, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yep. But essentially, somebody now that the registry is effectively free, someone has registered a potato as a suppressor.
Two. He has two. Yep. He has Tate 001 and Tate 002. Samwise 001 was denied. I am not making that up. I am not making that up.
And so, what's especially interesting too is if he doesn't bore it out and is just doing. I mean, essentially, I think we've all heard like the various internet myths of various means of suppressing a firearm with with makeshift equipment. One of them is stuff a potato down the end of your barrel, which I would highly advise against. But and all that.
What if you bored out the potato and slipped it over a suppressor and then did a few mag dumps? It's not a suppressor. It's just baking a potato in a different way.
That's true.
Unhealthy.
But and so this is also interesting in the fact that, as I'm thinking about it, the chances of using this suppressor, not destroying it, seems pretty hard to believe. And so that also adds an interesting statement on a lot of these things, you could declare them to be destroyed. Mm-hmm. And now they're no longer a suppressor.
Yep.
Which is going to be a huge factor for, say, people who are going to be 3D printing suppressors or registering oil filters or other such things.
I know several people have already gotten their approvals for oil filter adapters. I don't think they called them that on the application, but that's what they are.
Yep.
I'm not sure if it's been confirmed through the groups that someone's gotten a 3D printed suppressor approved since January 1st. I know some were approved prior but those are more manufacturers doing prototyping. But just to add to the ridiculousness of this whole thing, in the Reload article that I linked, he said that he wouldn't be unsurprised if the agency revoked the registration, but that could just lead to more of the absurdity he's trying to highlight. So if they revoke it, he has to give it back. Okay, if you want to send an agent to my house to pick up this potato, that's even funnier. He said he may simply bake the potato for dinner if the ATF changes its mind and demands he destroy it. Quote, what's the legal implication of eating an NFA item? And it was also, if you plant the registered potato and it creates more potatoes, are they under the same serial number or is that manufacturing?
No, okay, yes, this is all very droll. I was under the impression that it was the washer that was registered because that was the part which was bearing the serial number.
That is correct. but the application that he submitted in the Reload article that actually has a picture of the bottom of the Form 1, where he says, I will not manufacture, purchase, or otherwise acquire any parts or materials until I have an approved Form 1. And there's a picture of a washer and a picture of a potato. And it's obviously a stock potato picture. But with a Form 1, you have to show your design, basically. So having the washer and the potato, and I don't know if they still require a description of the actual assembly, but so it's not that potato, but it's a potato. It's kind of the same thing with the big issue and concern with the oil filter adapters. Is the adapter is the serial numbered part, the oil filter is the baffles. So technically speaking, you get an approval for that. You have to have an 07 SOT attach the oil filter to the adapter because that's manufacturing. Yes, it is that ridiculous. And after you've fired enough rounds through that oil filter so that it's no longer effective, you've got to take it back to the 07 SOT to remove and dispose of the oil filter and replace it with a new one. So technically speaking, with the Form 1, and I may have some of the details on this wrong because I'm even further from a lawyer than Oddball, but with the potato one, my understanding is he's Form 1ing the initial construction, but to replace the potato would require an 07 SOT actions. I believe, again, it gets very bizarre.
I know there's been problems with people that have suppressors that use baffles or that use wipes instead of baffles, or baffles and wipes to make it quieter. And in the fact that, most of the time they are just simply, a neoprene sheet cut into discs that will fit into the body of the suppressor.
You can go to a hardware store and buy gasket material from the plumbing supplies, and you get a punch of the right size, and you can punch out as many wipes as you want in a couple hours.
But that is it's illegal gray area. I don't think anyone's been prosecuted for it, but there's a potential for it because you are in fact manufacturing suppressor parts by hammering that die into that sheet of that sheet of neoprene.
Yeah, unless you can justify some other purpose for it in regards to plumbing versus suppressors. And
even then, with constructive intent, that's
usually they are going after you for something else, and constructive intent is just spaghetti against the wall.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to argue on that. I thought there was at least one case where somebody collected had a like a broom handle Mauser or something with a with the shoulder stock.
Wouldn't have been a broom handle Mauser because that was exempted.
Yeah. Either way.
But they, generally speaking, with something like that, as far as I understand it from the stories I've heard, you've got to get their attention first. So this guy has probably successfully gotten their attention.
Yeah, that in itself is an issue. Is an issue in itself, is the fact that you've got to get their attention first. So in theory, I mean, it's one of the reasons why I go by Weer'd instead of my legal name, because I am speaking out against the government, specifically the government that issues my gun permit, and so I may piss them off, and it would be a shame if my gun permit got delayed or denied for some reason.
So it's a good thing people don't know you by your legal name, Anton Spivak.
Erin, now I'm going to have to bleep that out.
That is tickling a memory, but I'm not connecting it. Is that a movie reference?
Not intentionally, but there is apparently an actor by that name. I don't know if this is where you heard it. I think it's entirely plausible for you, but that was the name of a bad guy in an old radio episode of The Shadow.
Oh, nice.
I used to listen to those on the radio when my dad and I would go driving up to Vermont.
I'm not surprised, but that one stuck in my head because it was such an unusual name.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree.
All right, David, take us away on the last one.
Oh, I didn't watch the video either. I just put it on the show notes. Anyway, Oddball's job, and he's not here. But as the other half of Dodd, I will do my best. So apparently there were two justices or judges, I don't know what they're called, at the Fifth Circuit Court, that laws banning machine guns may be unconstitutional. Now, I am not going to try to make sense of this ruling, decision, dissent. I don't even know what that is. But there was something. The Fifth Circuit has been doing yeoman's work in trying to protect and expand Second Amendment rights. So props to them. But where was that? Yeah, so basically, for those who are not familiar, the Hughes Amendment to the Firearm Owners Protection Act of 1986 closed the machine gun registry for private individuals to purchase any machine guns made after that date. Machine guns made prior to that date could be transferred through the normal procedure of the NFA. Machine guns made after that date are referred to as post-dealer samples, which means they can only go between dealers. So, for example, a dealer with the appropriate FFL who's running a range for rentals can get those newer machine guns. Or if they are dealing with a law enforcement agency and the agency wants to try this or that machine gun at an interest of buying it, they can acquire it that way. But this is something that has been bounced back and forth and never actually gotten us anywhere since 86, even though when that was supposed to be a poison pill in the Firearm Owners Protection Act. And if you look it up, it was very questionable how it was passed into the bill as an amendment in the first place. And then President Reagan was assured by various groups, including the NRA, that if he signed the bill, the Supreme Court would throw that part out anyway. And here it is 40 years later, and that hasn't happened. But it may be in the process of happening now. So I'm just trying to see if there's something that I can grab onto here. Because, of course, machine guns were not affected by the big, beautiful bill. They still have the $200 tax stamp. They can still say that they are, tax information, etc. But
so
only
I will note that the challenge that in theory, I guess, though I don't think the courts could rule that only the suppressor or short-barreled shotgun sides of the NFA is an unconstitutional registry. I think they could just overall note that, hey, if you're still collecting the tax stamps and registration information, even though the tax stamps are worth $0, then and really the idea that this is just tax information is just completely off the wall.
Right. And that's why machine guns and destructive devices would be the only things left on the NFA if one of these cases goes the way we hope it does. But this specifically was about the machine guns. And this is not a extremely long video. It's only like 20 minutes, maybe?
Yeah.
But it's still trying to find the actual meat of it. Okay. Jamian Wilson was convicted of murdering a guy who sold him a fake gun, took a handgun, apparently had been converted into a machine gun, killed the guy, convicted of this, but one of the accounts of the conviction was that he possessed an unregistered illegal post-86 machine gun when he killed his seller. So this is a murder. Okay. Second Amendment reasons were argued. Trying to find. There's a 3-judge panel regarding Hollis versus Lynch out of the Fifth Circuit. Whenever we think about the Second Amendment of machine guns, reality is we are bound by a prior Fifth Circuit precedent of another panel from years ago, Hollis versus Lynch. Because we're bound by that under the rules of the circuit, we simply apply Hollis versus Lynch. Found machine gun bans under 922 are constitutional, consistent with the Second Amendment. Bound by that decision.
Thrilling stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to the actual part of this. There's a lot of talking. Rule of orderliness is a doctrine they're discussing. If your panel of the circuit must follow the decisions of prior panels, keep law consistent. There's an 920 lacks a connection to Article 1. Neither a taxing nexus to justify the law to allow 922 to be constitutional, nor is there any connection to interstate commerce, which is what then Judge Alito said in the Rybar decision. They both argue, two judges agreed this question of whether or not 922 is currently constitutional as written is a legitimate question and needs to be taken up. So that's, yeah, if 922 is actually legal, is it legally enforceable? Is it constitutional? Is really the what I'm getting out of this. Yeah.
Either way, I wanted to put that in there. I watched it a few hours ago, and I have not.
You watched it, so you didn't retain anything.
Retained the very specifics on why this is, this specifically was unconstitutional. I just know it is, and so either way,
we need to get Oddball to listen to that and give a basic report.
Yes. But it's one of those, and as this goes through, there'll be the big reason why it's just the video is in there, and we're not skimming it a lot easier. Is I couldn't find a print article.
No, neither could I
on this. So I
believe Matthew was the one who mentioned the Four Boxes Diner video.
Yeah.
Yeah, once he mentioned that, I went to see if I could find a print article, and I had no luck. But my Googling has been subpar as of late.
Yep. But either way, it is good to see in this in this modern era that we're really that there's so many grounds where the NFA is now being attacked when really it seemed like it was kind of the sacred cow that no one was touching.
Yeah, I wish they would just touch all the things.
Yes. Touch it extremely hard with a sledgehammer.
Yep. Oh, Erin, I saw your round table bingo card. When did we argue Judaica?
You literally said, Erin, I think you should change it from arguing to discussing. And both Oddball and I, at nearly the same instant, said, we're marking that.
Yep.
Oh, well then, if that's the case, I had that too. Ta-da!
All right. Well, so let's roll into the main body of the show, which is, of course, none of us are at SHOT Show. And
one day.
Yeah. So there's been a few things that have popped up in that have popped up already as either pre-shot discussions or the first few hours of SHOT Show are going on as we're recording. So yeah, does you know what? Actually, I'm going to start with Erin because Erin, you are by far the least guns and gear person on this dais. Is there anything that you have seen that's really blown your skirt up?
I rather like the water-cooled belt-fed AR upper.
Oh yes. Was it Signal 6 and CAC Industries?
LIMASIX.
LIMASIX.
Yep.
I mean, they're out of stock and it's $5,000, but first of all, belt-fed for the lulz, and second, it's got that classic World War II big water can that tickles the retro, I guess.
Yeah.
Some sort of aesthetic.
Yeah, it's more of a World War I thing. There were still some in World War II, but the water jacket machine gun is definitely a World War I aesthetic.
I'm trying to figure out where it loads from.
The left side. So you pull the charging handle on the right all the way back to lock the bolt open, and then it loads in from the left side.
Okay.
And
I mean, distressingly, there is no picture of the other side.
No, there's a drawing where you can see the feed mechanism.
Okay. So then I assume it ejects out the magwell.
I think that, and I may be incorrect because I haven't actually taken a look at any of the internal diagrams, but I believe it ejects either the link or the case out the magazine well and the other out the right side of the gun. If I had to guess, I would say it ejects the link out of the right side of the gun and the case down the magwell.
Yeah, that seems cromulent.
And it is just the most ridiculously cool thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially...
And once you're done with your range time, you can make tea.
From the... you should not.
Now, is that like a ghost ring sight at the end of the water jacket?
I don't know if I would be considered a ghost ring more or just a regular hooded front sight.
So here's the thing. I don't see the blade of a regular front sight. It looks circular, and if you get real close on one of those pictures, it looks like you have little spikes sticking out from the interior of the ring.
Yeah, I mean, technically a ghost ring needs to be near the eye, which is where the ghost aspect comes from.
Oh, I mean, okay, is it some sort of sight? Because clearly this thing doesn't have a regular front sight. Are they trying to approximate a front sight?
I believe that is a front sight ring, and if you look at the picture, the side view picture, behind the red dot is one of the backup iron sight modules on the pick rail.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're kind of bottom thirding that with the red dot.
Okay. But my point here is we can all agree that is a very unorthodox front sight.
For an AR, absolutely. It actually kind of reminds me of the was it the SKS or the AK that had the full ring front sight?
The SKS and the Mosin definitely have the full globe.
Okay, that was the SKS front sight it was reminded me of.
Oh, and that's also part of the classic HK sight.
Actually, I just found a picture of an SKS front sight block. Pardon me. And that's what I was thinking, because it's got the hole in the top for putting in the sight adjustment tool.
Yep.
And the holes in the sides. So it kind of, that is a really way smaller image than I intended. I apologize. But that is what I was thinking of.
Mm. So another thing that I saw, to continue, because I still have the talking stick, it's not actually listed here in the show notes that I've seen, but I saw a video, and I'm certain David will tell me who manufactured it, but someone has made a proprietary short-barreled shotgun that can be mounted to the underside of an AR like an M203.
I believe that was Palmetto State Armory came out with that.
Yes.
That sounds about right. And so I saw that and I went, okay, that looks excessively front heavy, but all right, points for originality.
I mean, it's their version of the master key.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it might have been a better choice, correct me if I'm wrong, if they had made it a 20 gauge instead of a 12. Because at the distances you're going to be using it, a 20 gauge is going to have technically less, but effectively similar stop and power and things like that. Yeah. And also it would reduce the amount of weight and just generally make it easier to carry.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you're absolutely correct, because the primary purpose of the original master key was as a door breaching tool. So you're literally holding that thing inches away from a doorknob or lock or hinge. Putting a I think they used the frangible slugs.
Yeah, it was a sintered metal shotgun slug.
Yeah.
And you would and unlike in the movies where they will often shoot at the doorknob, the best depiction in Hollywood of using a shotgun as a master key was Wes Studi in Heat with his Mossberg 590, where he took off both the hinges of the door to it was Van Zant's hotel room.
Yeah, and that was the scene where was it right before that where they're in the elevator and he changes ammunition?
Yep, yeah, he's changing ammunition, and
God, that was
and
such a good
Pacino
attention
pulls
to
out
detail.
pulls out his it's a 1991, not a 1911, press checks it to confirm that it's loaded. It's just, I mean, Michael Mann, he was a graduate of Gunsight Academy, so he knew his stuff when it came to firearms, and so seeing all those little actions in that movie really just show just an awareness of the firearm, which I love.
As a point of interest and nothing more, I don't know if they do it now, but back in the 90s, the LA SWAT team, I believe, they had a dedicated SBS for breaching doors, and their name for it was the Little Pig.
That's adorable.
For people who don't know why, little pig, let me come in.
Yeah, that's adorable. And they probably had somebody on ready for suppression with the pig, which was an M6 nickname for the M60 machine gun, which at that time would have been pretty much standard.
Really? LAPD had an LMG?
The SWAT teams would have.
Okay. Learned something new.
There, I found an image of the little pig. It appears to be, is that an 870?
Yes, it looks like an 870, based on the bolt, the trigger guard, and the slide release lever, if that's what that is.
I don't see the trigger safety though. You know, the crossbolt safety.
Yeah, and that also has an AR or an M16A2 pistol grip on it, so they may have replaced the trigger guard, and honestly, they may have done away with the safety because it wouldn't be loaded until it was ready. Well, that's unlikely, but they may have moved it. But yeah, also the two pins holding the trigger guard in look about right. I do wonder, directly above the pistol grip, there's something that looks like a small lever, and I wonder if that's some part of the safety system or if it just happens to be there.
Yeah.
But now they would have just got a Serbu Super Shorty.
Yes. But yeah, either way, this underbarreled shotgun, not only is it crazy cool and could work as a breaching shotgun attached onto it, but you know what? You could also fill it up with buckshot. Why wouldn't you?
Or slugs and make a modern drilling.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. They say the 5.56 is a poodle shooter, so how about an ounce of lead?
But yes, and PSA calls it their Sabre key underbarrel shotgun.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the things which blew my skirt up, as you said.
Very, very good choices.
Thank you.
Yep.
I agree with your 100%.
I need to scroll up real quick because this was Oddball posted it just before he took off to bed. Let's see. I think this is it Arm Score? Let's load it back up. Let's see. Rock Island Arsenal.
What is it?
The folding essentially shockwave style shotgun.
Okay, yeah. I didn't see. Can you repost the link? So
yeah,
I don't remember seeing that earlier.
I'll throw it back in chat and then I'll put it in the show notes.
There we go. Oh yes, I have seen this. Actually, I think we saw this at the Goals Expo last August.
Okay, so this is not new to shot.
Unless that was a prototype and this is production. That I don't remember.
But essentially it looks like a Mossberg shockwave. I can't really see close enough in the video to see which shotgun operating system it's using, but yeah, I can't tell from this video, but it's essentially picture the Mossberg shockwave and the Remington, what was that, the TAC-14?
Yeah, that was one of them.
And all that. But make it so that it's got a hinge system where it can essentially fold in half to make it even more compact, which is kind of cool.
More than kinda, I would say, but yeah.
It reminds me a lot of Ian did a segment on it where there was the folding full-size shotgun that you could kind of holster in a belt cup, and you could keep it under your jacket. And I think it was used by like postal inspectors and things like that.
There was not the Bannerman. Oh, they were just talking about it on CN Arsenal. And I'm blanking on the name.
Oh, the Burgess folding shotgun.
Burgess. Yes, thank you, Burgess. That's what I was trying to remember.
I've got Ian's blog post on that with the resulting video.
That is so neat. I really feel like that needs to be updated for the modern era.
Well, especially the story is supposedly he actually walked into the White House with that and
not just to clarify, not Ian.
Yes, no. Burgess himself walked into the into the Oval Office of the White House with Teddy Roosevelt, and he had it loaded with blanks and touched off the blanks in the Oval Office, essentially walking past everyone without them realizing that he was strapped with a shotgun.
Not only was he armed, he was armed with a pump shotgun.
I think Teddy was the only president that he could have gotten away with doing that. Teddy,
joke's on you. I'm into that crap.
Right.
Yeah. Teddy probably went, "That's awesome. Let me give it a try."
Yes. Hold on. I'm heading over to the secretarial pool.
I believe he purchased some, but I need to refresh my.
But I just tossed into chat the picture that I took at Goals of the earlier version, at least. So it has a pistol grip and a side folding stock.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, no, I remember you showing that picture. Yeah. Oh, so one of the more significant purchases for the Burgess folding shotgun was secured with the aid of just such a holster. Burgess salesman Charlie Damon, an impressive exhibition shooter, made an appointment with then New York City Police Board President Theodore Roosevelt. So he wasn't president of the United States at this point in 1885, and arrived concealing a loaded Burgess in a holster under his coat. After exchanging a few greetings, Damon thoroughly startled Roosevelt by whipping out the gun, snapping it shut, and blasting 6 blanks into the ceiling of the office. Roosevelt, always one to be enthusiastic about weapons technology, promptly ordered 100 of the guns to be used in the New York State penal system, where they eventually sold at an auction in Canada around 1920.
Yep. So I just tossed a video short of Ian with a Burgess showing exactly what you just described and going on with Teddy.
Yep.
Brings a whole new meaning to, pardon me while I whip this out.
Yep.
Yes. Very much.
It was also, as a pump shotgun, it was also very unusual is that the forend was not the pump, the pistol grip was.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, yes, I know. I've seen that video.
Yep. And there's no reason something like that could not be made today and improved.
I mean, the original objection that I heard was with the whole, well, is it NFA or not? Because on the one hand, it is a full-size shotgun, but on the other hand, you can very easily conceal it, which was the entire point of restricting SBSs, and so people didn't want to open that can of worms, and I understand. But now there's no reason not to.
Right. I mean, it wouldn't have been a short-barreled shotgun.
It still would have attracted the dread gaze of the ATF, though.
Yep. And it would not have been an any other weapon because it couldn't be fired while folded, just like the Sub 2000.
Actually, I will step in and give the actual why, because of course, I mean, many of us know, we got the the 26-inch limit, but there's a lot of different guns where when you fold the stock, they are suddenly shorter than that, and the reason is that folding up a firearm does not count for its maximum length.
Right, it's the overall maximum length.
Correct. And so, but the big issue, you've got is it being 12 gauge and how terrible the NFA is that anything that is over 50 caliber, of which 12 gauge is roughly 72 caliber, is by default a destructive device unless it gets an exemption. And that's why the AA-12
sporting shotguns were basically given a blanket exemption. Anything else had to get a specific exemption, which is just like their opinion, man.
Yeah, and so that's why the both overall well known as not being that great a shotgun, the AA-12 and the
USAS 12
and the street sweeper, aka the Striker 12 was the original name for it, and all of that.
Which any of those,
which is also an absolutely awful shotgun, and not and as cool and scary looking as it is, not actually that much better than your standard issue, either pump or a semi-auto shotgun,
and worse when it comes to reloading.
Yes, but because it was scary looking, it had
no sporting purpose.
Scary looking and with the scary name.
Yes.
Yeah. And then they made the was it the 410 version, the Ladies Home Companion?
That was in 4570.
Oh, a dainty round.
God. Close enough. But yeah, so I added the link to, or did you add the link to the RIA pack out to the notes? One of us did. Anyway. So Weer'd.
Yes.
What about you? Let's blow your skirt up.
Let's see. I'm trying to go through. I mean, I just saw just a few hours before we started, and I threw that in the show notes, and I didn't quite realize that it was also clip loaded. But so I think it was just this year it was announced, or I think it was late last year. It was announced that Kel-Tec had suspended production of the P3AT, which their small 380 gun, really the revolutionary gun, because it's it got copied under the Ruger LCP, and then I saw this.
Isn't that also the Zimmerman pistol?
No, his was the single stack 9mm.
Oh, okay.
Which I think they finally discontinued that as well.
Yeah, but the PR3AT is basically a scaled down and up calibered version of their 57.
Yep, it is rotary barrel, internal magazine only, so therefore it needs to be fed via stripper clips, and
13 round capacity.
Yes, and so
13 rounds of 380 ACP in a defensive shoot, that'll take care of business.
Yep, and it's effectively an updated version of the Grendel P10.
Yes, with more capacity, because I believe that P10 had 10 round capacity.
Yep. So that was neat. At first, I thought it was just competing with essentially it was going the other way around. Is the Ruger essentially copied the design of the P3AT for the LCP, and then later came out with the LCP Max, and doing that. But that doesn't. But it's not quite, because again they switched over to a gun without an external magazine.
Yep, no detachable. And when fully loaded with 13 rounds of 380, it weighs just over 14 ounces.
That's really impressive.
Yeah. From what I've seen of the videos, so's the recoil.
Yeah, I was about to ask, with a pistol that light, there's not going to be much recoil mitigation, is there?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's got a rotating barrel, so it's not straight blowback, at least there's that. But watching the videos, there is a lot of muzzle flip. And from what some things I read, the trigger pull is stout, because I believe the trigger is the safety.
Oh, like the Altor.
Well,
yeah, I know. Yes and no.
I mean, the Altor, the whole gun is kind of the safety and the anti-safety. But if you look at the Kel-Tec website and look at the left and right sides of the PR3AT, there's, other than the trigger, the only control is the slide lock. As far as I can tell, there is no manual external safety. But it does say that the trigger pull is 4.5 pounds on the website. So you never know. Never know.
Let's see, and I'll just dive on one more, which I think shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. And actually, Ryan, the chat of Handgun Radio, just texted me, going, "Oh man, Smith & Wesson's bringing back the night guards." And this is, I mean, if you listen to Handgun Radio, Ryan has been talking about this for years, that he's upset that Smith & Wesson has gotten rid of their night guards, which are these essentially all painted black revolvers of various calibers and models, and they've all got lightweight frames, and yeah, they're just cool guns in general.
Revolvers.
Yep.
Revolvers are just cool.
Mm-hmm. So, David, what are some stuff that blew your skirt up and that we can bid adieu to the fine listeners?
I don't know if there's, other than the stuff that Erin already talked about, were two of my high points as well. Yes, gun pun intended. The new-ish, I guess, Beretta 80X Cheetah in 32 ACP.
Mm-hmm.
Which...
Oh, is that the one with the tip-up barrel?
The 80X I don't believe is the one with the tip-up barrel. I believe that was... again, we need oddball.
I mean, I remember like about 15 years ago, I was looking for a carry pistol for my mother, and I could have sworn that Beretta did have a tip-up barrel gun in 380, and they had discontinued that one.
Yeah,
or maybe
that was the 87, I believe, or 86.
Mm.
But this is the more standard format, but it's not like the Bobcat and the Tomcat, the little tiny tip-ups in 22 and 25.
Yeah.
This is what we would now consider a mid-size or compact.
Yeah. They kept the tiny calibers, but they discontinued at the time the actual self-defense round 380, and I couldn't figure out why, and it really annoyed me.
Yeah, but as Oddball and I have gone on at length, we are both fans of the 32 ACP caliber in a mid-size platform because it is a phenomenal training gun. Low muzzle blast, low recoil, the ammunition does not have the issues of rimfire, and 32 ACP in a good gun is remarkably accurate. So that's one that I am excited to see actually coming out into full production. Also, the M&P 22X Smith & Wesson, which is, well, the M&P 22 Compact was kind of their standout 22 semi-auto. It's part of the M&P line, but it was a compact. It was a small gun, where the M&P 22X is a full-size 20-round capacity versus the 10-round capacity of the standard 22 Compact. And I mean, again, I approach a lot of this stuff now as a trainer, or just, well, that's weird and interesting. But I think the biggest thing we're going to see, for obvious reasons, is a lot more suppressors and a lot more suppressor companies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, January 1st, 2026 was the end of the NFA tax on suppressors. Yeah, SBRs and SBSs as well, and any other weapons, but we had already seen, I mean, you remember, Weer'd, when we were at NRA annual meeting in Atlanta last year, the number of new suppressor companies.
Yes, quite a few.
And when I was at the goals event in August, when the big beautiful bill was actually, I think it had already been passed at that point, and everyone knew it was going to take effect in January, I was asking as many suppressor manufacturers, both old and new, if they were prepared for January, and the response of almost every one of them was absolutely not, because they knew it was going to happen. I mean, 13 hours into January 1st, 2026, and we crashed the ATF's NFA system with Form 1s and Form 4s. And then the next day, they did it again in, I think, 11 hours. I saw one report with suppressors, that specifically suppressors. This was not SBRs and SBSs and AOWs. This was just suppressors. In the first week of January, more Form 4s, just Form 4s, were registered than the entire state of Texas in an average month. And Texas is known for being one of the larger consumers of suppressors. So that's one of the things that I'm just really interested in, is what new and creative suppressor technologies are coming out. Because honestly, I think we're probably running up towards the edge of effectiveness of a suppressor with, the lightweight materials, the 3D additive manufacturing internals, but somebody's gonna come out with something new. What I don't expect to see is a lot of new revolutionary ARs, because they're ARs at this point. But I'm particularly interested in something else I've heard is several companies were talking about lever action rifles. Marlin announced one of their lever guns in 10 millimeter auto, which makes sense. And I know Smith & Wesson is still expanding their line. Somebody else talked about introducing or reintroducing a lever gun, and I'm always for more revolvers and more lever guns.
Mm-hmm.
But with the suppressors, one of the things that I'm particularly interested in, other than what I've already mentioned, was the budget lines. Because now that there's no tax stamp and possibly soon no registration for suppressors, everybody's going to suppress all the things. It's already begun. So it'll be interesting to see who's coming up with what for a budget suppressor line.
I would like to do a shout out to Caylee Pendergrass, who has started a company called Caylee's Cans. And
I saw a video on that.
Yeah, I posted it, and she is selling. Okay, she hasn't sold it yet. She's still gearing up, but she really wants to start manufacturing $200 fully titanium suppressor. Right now, it's only for 22 long. I guess just 22 in general. But one would hope that if it sells, then she would expand up to higher calibers.
Yep. Yeah, actually, I had that video recommended on my YouTube page before I saw you post up the link. So I had watched it, and if she can get things going manufacturing wise, I will get in line for one of those.
You'll get in line for one of her cans.
Yes. I'll get in line so I can get my hands on her cans.
There you go.
I am waiting right now. Probably tomorrow I'm going to get the email that I can come and pick up my 22 suppressor, because it was submitted and there was a little glitch with the signature, so it delayed things a few days. And then of course the store reached out to me and said, "Yeah, we're trying to finalize your Form 4, but the ATF system keeps going down." I'm not going to be angry at that, because that just means more people with suppressors. But my first suppressor was back when Black Aces Tactical had their Po' Boys, which was a simple steel suppressor for $199. They specifically priced it $1 below the tax stamp. And I managed to get a hold of one of those because I wanted to support that idea. Suppressors for the people. I still think they should be sold in blister packs next to the earplugs and muffs. But yeah, I've actually been looking for more information about Caylee's products and manufacturing process.
You want to get a closer look at one of her cans?
At least one.
Yeah.
All cans are good cans. Some are bigger, some are smaller, some are heavier, some are lighter, but they're all beautiful in their own ways.
Gonna run this joke into the ground.
That is my plan, yes. Or I should say, I'm going to plow this joke into the ground. Excuse me.
I know that you're desperately trying to work laying pipe into the conversation somehow.
You are not wrong. You are not wrong.
Listeners,
Weird. Are you implying that our listeners do not lay pipe?
No, I don't know. I'd like to speak to my lawyer.
He's away from the show right now.
Yes.
Poor Oddball. This is what happens when he has to sleep.
He did this to himself. So we'd like to thank you guys all for tuning in to the Assorted Calibers podcast. We really appreciate you listening to us. But we would like to give an extra special thanks to all our supporters on Patreon. You can go to patreon.com and /Assorted Calibers podcast and sign up. Again, not a tip jar. We're not begging. We're not passing the hat. It's a store. You can buy things. We've got the ACP Mag Dump, the ACP Film Tracks, and you can get early releases of the show.
Just the tip. Also, please remember to rate us on Apple Podcasts and Pocket Casts. Subscribe to us on the platform of your choice, and share the show with your friends, both online and off.
I got a blog. It's weerdworld.com. That's WEERD world.com. And you can hear me weekly on Handgun Radio on the Firearms Radio Network.
And you can get more from me at my blog. I'm reading Weer'ds. Leave that in there for the lulz. I mean, I've only been doing this since 2017. You'd think I'd have it memorized, but nope. And you can get more from me at linktree/Erin Paulette. That's linktree.ee. Everyone in their own key. /Erin Paulette, all one word.
David, where can people find you?
Here, Handgun Radio as often as it's recorded at a human hour on the Assorted Calibers podcast and Handgun Radio Facebook pages. I have a bunch of articles up at Blue Collar Prepping, and my stories are in a variety of anthologies on Amazon under David Bach and Brenna Bach.
And thanks to Nate Spencer for our music.
Yeah, I know you always pause for me to do this. And it's like, man, round tables, they're all over the place. It's really hard to come up with a unifying joke. Our ADHD is assorted, and so is our podcast. Good night, everyone.
Perfect. Perfect.